All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to game number one of match number one of the ASL Prime Group D of round of 16. And these two players are going at each other here to try to make it into that winner's bracket match. And that first player spawning in the bottom left corner, representing Team Axiom Esports, it is Ryung.
Beautiful. It was as if we had an actual Korean commentator right there with us. And his opponent, in the top right, in the yellow, representing Root Gaming, it is the Zerg player Petraeus. And he is not being greedy at all.
Not at all. He is opening up quite aggressively here. And so yeah, Petraeus, right? He's coming into this match. He's living in the My Insanity house right now, I believe. Don't know if he's left yet, but last I heard, that's where he was. And pretty much just dominating the European ladder. He's, I don't know right now at this specific second in time, but he's held that a #1 GM spot in Europe for quite a bit, and pretty convincingly. He plays a lot of StarCraft.
Well, that's a good way to get the practice in. Doing a lot of practice. It just makes sense. It's the way forward. You get that, you get the time sunk into it, and eventually I guess you're going to tail off. Like, there's only so much that practice can help you in terms of improving your mechanics and teaching you about the game, but at the same time it is the easiest and most core way for these players to improve. And I just hope that Petraeus will get better and better, because I've seen him, I never saw him before this tournament really, and I already really like him. He tends to open with this fast speed every time, for defense, I think, in general, rather than actually going necessarily for any kind of aggression. At least in the option to be aggressive, should he want to. But most importantly, allows him to defend against any kind of really early aggression with Reapers, with Marines, with Hellions. Yeah,
and that Reaper is going to be chasing the Ling away. So anytime you do see Lings here as a Terran player, you know that the Queen is probably going to be there by the time you get over there. So, I mean, the best thing you can do with the Reaper is to try to kill the Ling, but maybe even get into the base to see if something else is coming, because if an early pool is out, sometimes you can get a little bit cautious. You're a little bit nervous because you don't know what's going to follow it up with some kind of weird tactic out of a Zerg player. But Ryung looking pretty standard here, and I wonder if Petraeus did that in order to look for the proxy, because if you look at the pathing of the Lings, you may have thought that he was going to get 2-raxed in the first game of this series, and you never want to be down one game off of like a 2-rax in the first game.
No, and of course we've seen before that these Koreans, they can get a bit feisty with their cheese, especially Parting, especially Supernova. Those two went at it. They're both cheesing each other sometimes in the same game. But Ryung has opted to play a lot more standardly, even throwing down that third command center nice and early, so not going to be the most aggressive style out of him.
Yeah, we're looking at, this is the meta that we've seen probably in the past few months, but recently, you see a lot more aggressive plays out of Terran, and for Ryung to show this really early, it tells Petraeus that nothing crazy is coming out, like a strong Hellbat push or something like a drop play. So Ryung is very confident in his play right now, showing that command center, and it just also makes such a good wall, right? Look at all the surface area that it does take in that natural.
Yeah, it fills up a lot of that. And you mentioned a strong Hellbat push. I think we're going to see a kind of moderate Hellbat push come out of Ryung, because that armory is just about to complete. He has been building that back at home, and he's got a few, morphing into the Hellbat at the Watchtower, as you see. And these guys are going to push forward. There's 12 Lings in production, but actually I think these are not really so much for harassment. They are for harassment, obviously, but they're going to be doing just a little bit of damage, forcing out a few units from Petraeus, and generally just intended to scare him a bit, because this is a very early timing, and any damage that this deals, it's not the end of the world for Ryung to invest this, and at the same time, it's nice for him to be dealing the damage to his opponent in the direct and indirect ways that he will be doing.
Yeah, indeed, and it's hitting really early. I don't think Petraeus is prepared for this just yet, but he does have the Lings. They're going to get the good surround here. A Queen is going to go down again, and there's the bailing hit that he wanted. And, it's going to get held back pretty well. But what it did, look at that, 20 more Lings that get forced out. Ryung is setting up for a macro game, so if he holds this counterattack, I think the goal of that push would have been okay, he should get those Hellions. So yeah, it's not
I don't know. I think that he should be able to hold it if it's just Zerglings, but we've already seen that Petraeus has Banelings and a Baneling nest, making more Banelings now. Exactly. He's going to try and go through that wall, and when he gets in, I think the Lings might do some serious damage at that point.
Yeah, I mean, it might even supply block Ryung here. There are 3 supply depots there. So there are enough Hellions that will be able to deal with the Lings if these 2 pop out. But now Ryung knows they're going right for that middle one, I assume.
No, it doesn't matter. Getting all over those depots. 3 depots down. Ryung supply blocks. The Hellions having to kite back against those Lings and Banelings. Actually surviving pretty nicely there, I think. Most of those Hellions are still alive, yeah.
So that was actually the perfect Baneling hit as far as hitting everything. He hit all 3 depots and also the command center, but he didn't really get too much done there. He did supply block Ryung, which is good. But I don't know if it's enough. You know, it's just a lot of gas invested into it, and Petraeus is setting up for a kind of late tech mid game because he hasn't got the lair, and he's just now starting his upgrades while Ryung's about to finish his 1-1 a lot sooner.
Yeah, I think Petraeus thought he could make that do a bit more work than it did. As he pushed out, I think his intention was to basically kill all of the SCVs in the main, in the natural, and split it up, possibly hoping to kill more of the Hellions that were in the natural, or maybe just not expecting as many Hellions as there were out of Ryung. But obviously they were there, so Ryung managed to defend pretty handily in that situation.
Yep, and he is repairing the Hellions. You know, that's something you don't see all the time. I think the SCVs tried to see if they could repair the Marine, but that's not going to happen. 3 bases Ryung is on. Petraeus is just now starting to drone up really heavily. Going to get up to that 70+ drone count. But Ryung is set up in a really nice place. Like, look at his main. He's starting to get all of his production. Medevacs are about to be coming out as well. Combat shield is going to be done. He already has his core upgrades, which are like the stem and the 1-1. So, it's all about the units now. As well. It really is,
I love
right?
City. It's just so straightforward and clean. I think that's pretty. But
I imagine Total Biscuit being like, "Yo, man, make sure that your racks are tidier." You know, Jenna would be like, "Hey,
tidy your room." I don't wanna. It's a hard life in the Axiom team house.
But you were saying, I apologize. I just had to.
I have literally no idea anymore. I am just looking around the map, seeing what is going on. And you were right about that delayed gas opening out of Petraeus, because he did invest. He got quite late gases. He did invest into a lot of his gas into Banelings. It's delayed his Spire to nearly 12 minutes now, about halfway done. Getting those upgrades that you'd expect to see a couple of minutes ago now. And he's taking this 4th base to try and make up for a bit of a deficit. It is a fairly fast 4th, but it's not that quick considering how quick we saw the 3rd out of Ryung.
Exactly, and Petraeus knew about that 3rd. So it's going to be a really rough mid-game if Ryung gets any kind of traction and momentum. But the creep spread of Petraeus is really nice, so at least it's going to start to delay the push. And Petraeus is going to be going for this counterattack tactics, but look at Ryung already setting up with Hellions and a wall. So no more counterattacks are going to be really effective just because of the hidden Banelings to make it effective.
Yeah, he's so active on the map already. We see Ryung pushing out on 2 sides, controlling really nicely in both places, scanning to kill off those creep tumors. I think we'll see a lift because these Banes are too... Yeah. Oh, not quite timing it right.
Nope. That Marine really wanted that last creep tumor, and they did pay for it, so... Yeah, they do get taken out, but that's not the end of the world.
No, it's not. It's not the end of the world. It's basically a production cycle's worth of Marines. So it's a bit sad. It's 400 minerals that Ryung would have rather had than not had. But at the same time, he killed those active tumors, which is good. He is going to be able to keep his army alive, and it wasn't like it was a crippling blow. It was just a bit sad.
Right. So looking like Ryung is going to be getting a really fleshed out competition. Marines, some Marauders. He even has Widowmines as well as Hellbats. So getting some use out of those Hellions that he did make. Petraeus going for the Baneling counterattack on the right side of the map. But the Mutas are now out, and this drop is going to get shut down on the left side of the map. And Petraeus has his 2-2 about to finish. If he can get his 2-2 before this attack does hit, it'll be much better for him. As Ryung is already starting his 3-3, and that's a very scary position to be in as a Zerg player. If you can't deal with the 2-2, how are you ever going to deal with the 3-3?
It's true, and ordinarily you see the Zerg getting those 2-2 upgrades before the Terran.
Whoa, the counterattack. Sorry.
Where's it going? Where's it going? Oh, it's in the 3rd base.
Ryung, he didn't get
there it is.
any.
Yeah, Ryung's still on 70 workers, and then the flank attack on the other side. The Baneling's killing a lot of Marines there. The Muta's pushing forward, dealing with his Hellbats easily, of course, because they can't shoot up. The Bane's going to crash through the rest of the... Oh, the Widowmines, though.
Oh, yeah, I don't know if those were the best Widowmine hits.
Not once that Baneling went off, they weren't. They're all gone now. So many Banelings advancing forward for Petraeus. Being driven off now by Ryung. Just about getting away with that.
Yeah. And I thought Ryung would have been in a little bit of trouble with the counterattack on the right side, so I think he handled that really nicely. He didn't lose really any STVs. He keeps on losing supply depots, but he can rebuild those as he is getting to that
he
max.
actually rebuilt them during that fight, which is, of course, great because it means he doesn't have to wait. There's no delay time in this period of the game while they should be rebuilding. So really keeping on top of things is Ryung.
Yeah, he really is. Really solid play. But Petraeus, you know, it was a point where we thought that, oh, he's going to be under a lot of pressure, and then he drove it back and then put the pressure on Ryung. Does Ryung have a fourth base en route? He does not. He's just going to try to go with his 3 base, and look at that. Being relentless with those counterattacks, forcing the attention of Ryung to continue to keep on making those depots. And if he ever forgets, then, you know, there's going to be one counterattack that'll do a lot of damage.
I don't know about that though, because every single time we're seeing him trading gas units for minerals, and Ryung has access to a lot of minerals with those mules, and Petraeus is limited to 4 base gas, which sounds like a lot of gas, but when you're trying to tech towards Swarm Host, as Petraeus is, as he's apparently known for going towards, you kind of need your gas.
Can't afford it all, right?
Yeah.
You know, he was going for the mutas. Luckily, he's retained a bit of his mutas, so unlike me, he actually keeps his mutas alive during the game. But he's going to not go to Hive just yet. He will just use the Swarm Host to get that gas mining. There it is. He forgot to re-wall. And now that counterattack on the right side is going to be doing quite a bit more. And Petraeus finally, you know, knock, and then the third knock is the one that gets him in.
There you go. Ryung didn't rebuild on that occasion, but he is pushing across the map to knock on Petraeus' own door. And he's shoving forward with a big bio force. Not much mech involved in this, just a little bit of Widowmine, just a little bit of Hellbat to deal with the Lings and tank for the Banes in general. And Petraeus, his army's got a lot of Banelings. I cannot fault that part of it. But it's going to come down to how well Ryung splits against those. And I think his army is good enough that as long as he does a half-decent job of this, he should be okay. He should survive this.
Yeah. He's playing it so patiently, waiting for that +3 attack to finish. He already has the +3 armor, and he's just clearing out the creep, and he wants Petraeus to go out and say, hey, that's my creep, and then try to go engage. Because if Ryung takes a favorable engagement, he pushes into Petraeus' natural and just wins the game. So he does not want to. Petraeus using the Swarm Host in order to kind of not be forced to rush in there kind of recklessly.
Actually is rushing. Ryung's rushing in a little bit recklessly, I think, running in and getting a lot of his forces taken out there by some Banes, and Ling's in his third once again, still hasn't rebuilt that wall. The STV's now fighting as the Marines push up the ramp to fight up there. Here they come, the Banelings. They're on their way.
Oh, the Widowmine has already gone off. There's not too many Widowmines at the front, but they are spread out in the back. And he's sending out just a few Banelings at a time. And I really like the dynamic of the Swarm Host right here, and only because it allows Ryung not to just sit there and clear the creep. He feels compelled to go and try to clear everything else. So, Widowmine on all of those mutas. Just going to weaken them and soften them up a bit.
I'm not sure if there are enough Widowmines in this composition, you know. I don't know why. I just feel like there aren't quite enough to deal the splash damage that we might want to see out of Ryung. The Hellbats have all vanished as well. I think that they've been killed off. They're just not as fast moving as the stemmed bio, and they end up getting caught in places where the rest of the army isn't. Now, stimming forward, picking off a Swarm Host, which is always good. That's a serious deficit to the army of Petraeus immediately. And the Banelings rolling in, I think they might be able to clean this up.
Yep, he's going to clean it up as fast as the creep got cleaned up. Keep in mind, Petraeus continuing with these counterattacks is taking out all of the SCVs at the third of Ryung, and this is maybe the reason why these push isn't looking as strong. Behind this, Petraeus has been just annihilating the economy of Ryung while just holding on. So really, really nice moves here from Petraeus. And Ryung trying to go for a big drop, but there are no Banelings here to clean it up. Petraeus in a little bit of trouble if he doesn't clean that up.
He needs to do something with this, and that spawning pool going down is not going to help with the Baneling count at all.
No.
It does have 40 Lings in production, so he's going to have a few for a little while, but obviously it's going to take a moment to rebuild that pool, and it's only a moment from when Petraeus notices as well. Right now, I don't know if he's clocked it. He's not rebuilding it yet.
Oh, he needs to realize that. As here come the last Lings. Okay, he finally realizes it, but he also is going to drop down that Ultralisk Cavern. Petraeus holding on with the Swarm Host and just, whoa, Widowmine hit. Not going to do too much, but the Swarm Host, if they don't die, don't lose their Mutas, though. I don't know. Did he lose the Baneling? No, he didn't. I thought he lost his Baneling. That's
No, he didn't lose the Baneling Nest. That's what I was looking around for when he was killing off the spawning pool. Is he going to be able to get the Baneling Nest as well and stop those Lings from ever going into the Baneling form? But it was not to be. I don't even know where the Baneling Nest is. Maybe it's in the natural. There's a lot of things in the natural. But yeah, this Swarm Host is now going to be shoving for Petraeus across the map and driving Ryung back a little bit. He lost a lot of his army in those attacks and a lot of his econ back at home. So we're seeing the rebuild coming out of this.
Yeah, and Ryung very cautious about these counterattacks, moving around the right side. But here come 4 Banelings right as Ryung moves away. And this is all the while this fourth is being assaulted. 4 Banes running into the third. And
oh!
Even 2 more still here.
SCV's too fast!
Yup. 34 workers, 36 now have been killed by Petraeus this game. Holding 198 supply to the 141 of Ryung. Yeah, I mean, he's doing pretty well here. The Swarm Hosts are keeping him in the game, and the counterattacks, I think, are really what it is. Uh-oh, though. If he loses these Swarm Hosts, that's going to be terrible. You need the Banelings to keep those bio out.
Here it comes, shoving forward with that bio, killing off the Locust as fast as possible, even with the hits taken. But the Swarm Hosts, they're actually pretty quick once they get out of the ground. So this
and another counterattack.
The scan. This is the moment. This is where the game changes.
Oh, those 2 Baneling hits were so good. And Ryung's economy is just getting absolutely obliterated again. More workers going down. 46 workers killed total. It's between all of this. It looks like Ryung is ready to set up and go and push. But then Petraeus goes around on the right side and takes out so much of Ryung's economy. So he is holding out pretty well here. And I think he's going to be able to push this back.
It's so difficult for Ryung to invest anything into his economy, though, because obviously he wants to be rebuilding these SCVs. He's got 4 bases to do it with, but instead of that, he's just opting to tank through on the mules and deal with only 30 Marines, try and get as big an army supply as possible. And I don't think it's going to work. I think he should have rebuilt those SCVs and tried to get a macro powerhouse going on rather than just survive on the bare bones. Because now we see Petraeus with an absolute powerhouse of an economy, nearly 80 drones going on for him, and just too strong.
He's looking to take this, man. He's looking so good at the moment. 30 supply to the 21 of Petraeus, and he's just continuing to make units, not even being vulnerable by floating his barracks back.
No, exactly, not taking any risks in this situation. There was a little push up the ramp, a Marine was taken out, but 1 Marine for a hatchery, that's cost-effective trading. He is doing okay there. Comparatively, we're seeing Petraeus getting Ling speed, which he's, I assume, going to use to maybe try and run around the wall.
Oh, the body block, though.
Uh-oh.
Not
bad
good.
day to be a spine crawler.
Terrible day to be a spine.
GG.
Back here on the ASL Prime Season 3, it is going to be game number 3 of Group D, the final group of the round of 16. Who will be the final 2 to join the round of 8? This player spawning in the top left corner, representing Axiom, it is Ryung.
Yeah. Not a name I've said yet, but it rolls off the tongue very nicely.
I think I've said it 3 times in a row.
Ryung. And his opponent, across the map in the 2 o'clock spawn, in the yellow, once more, representing Root Gaming, it is Petraeus.
Petraeus. Sounds like a very noble man.
If you say so, I guess so, yeah. It's like there's a general in the US called Petraeus, isn't there?
I believe so, but I don't even know, to be honest. You know, one of the things about being an American is that you're supposed to be very ignorant to your own history. It's a prerequisite, so, yeah.
I was told the other day, a friend of mine reminded me that the school I went to is 3 times older than America, and I find that extremely funny.
Wow. That's crazy, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It is an old building. They're not allowed to knock it down anymore. It's too old.
Right? You just have to let it fall on its own. You know,
Exactly. Probably like on some kids, and that's fine. 'Cause, you know, they knew what
out
they were
of
signing
principle,
up
yeah.
for.
Say, what were the kids doing in there anyway? What it was this
Exactly.
school?
Yeah.
You
Probably
told us to
making up
go. The
mess.
kids didn't want to go. Like half the kids at that age probably don't even want to go to school.
It wasn't always
it's
fun.
funny.
It had its good moments.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, everyone's school does, but I can't think of a segue for school. I'm sorry.
It's all good. Let's check this Reaper schooling these lings at the moment right now. Hot damn.
I thought of that, but like it wasn't happening at the time when I had to do it. So unfortunate. All right, so that Reaper, having schooled the lings, is going to head across the map, having done its initial non-scout, actually just to deny those lings scouting in any way, and now going to go across the map, have a look at what's going on in the base of Petraeus, who is once again opting for that speed, that kind of early-ish speed, but he's opting to keep, I would guess, one drone in gas from how fast it's going up. Yeah, one drone.
He does have one drone in there. And it's very, I mean, you see it all the time now, right? I think it's just the Zergs playing less greedy. There was a point in time where Zergs would just play super greedy against Terran, and Terran couldn't do too much about it. And nowadays, they really have to worry about it and be able to... I don't know. Let's won't make it. They have to be able to adapt and make sure that they're ready to deal with anything that the Terran might want to throw at them. We saw game one, the Hellbats in the really early timing off of a shown third CC. Like there's so many different mind games that can happen.
I'm really liking the hunting down of this Overlord as well, with the Marines out on the map, and these Hellions killing off the Ling, but not quite enough, not succeeding in getting past it, blocking it off before it gets in. But of course, does get the scout off, and I think that Ling may have even seen the Tech Lab starport.
Barely, he didn't see it, so he doesn't know just yet. There's no Overlord in position either for Petraeus, so he's not going to know about this until it's too late. Or at least, unless he takes the precautions to deal with the potential. A Banshee.
Yeah, and as you said, he does not know that it's coming. We do see a safety spine crawler, but really it's the spore crawlers we need to see at Petraeus right now.
Yep, so that's nice. He's getting pretty safe. He's playing it really safe. Scarlet did this as well. Just like putting the spine crawler down and saying, okay, if you come at me with Hellbats, at least I'll have this spine crawler to help and assist. But he doesn't have a spore, so his lair is very fast, so that's nice. He'll be able to get the Overseer, but he has enough queens to deal with it. And is going Spire as well, so that's actually really nice to deal with any follow-up Banshees.
Yeah, and we're seeing this Reaper getting up into the main, trying to get a scout off, sees the timing on the second main gas. I don't know if it caught sight of the Spire behind the natural, which is precisely why that is located in the place it is. It's hard for Reapers and the like to get into. It's unlikely to be necessarily scanned in any kind of scan. It's just a good way of hiding tech, but the Banshee will almost certainly get a good look at it, and the Hellions will be trying to poke and prod towards what might be about to be a third base with that drone heading down there. Yes, third base going down for Petraeus.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Ryung did not see the Spire just yet. Maybe something he will assume, but I mean, I don't think he would assume it this fast. But here comes the Banshee, not going for the mineral line just yet, trying to soften up those queens so that the Hellions can do a bit more damage. But yeah, this Banshee will most definitely see that Spire. But there's no detection here. Where's the Overseer? It is being morphed in at the moment.
There it is.
All right.
Drives it away. I'm pretty sure he saw that Spire. The one thing we do know is that he was selecting the Banshee, but it's a question of whether Ryung has clocked it necessarily. I feel like a player as good as him should have done, and yet we're not seeing any turrets in production.
No, actually, not yet. So, does he even have an engineering bay yet? He went for the cloak bay.
There they go.
He has two of them. Whoa. Getting that bio upgrade. So yeah, he's going to transition Hellion Banshee into straight up bio. But, you know, this is going to be a very powerful push coming out of Ryung. We don't see a third command center. In addition, we just see 2 additional barracks, actually. This is going to be a lot. That's going to be a lot of bio and a lot of Hellions. If he even dropped the armory, that would be kind of crazy, too, but...
Just for the Hellbound morph.
Yeah. You know.
But he's got to drop it at some point to get those +2 upgrades, so there you go. If the Hellions are still alive, that's when it will happen, just naturally.
Ah, true. Indeed.
Yeah.
So if he doesn't drop it, though, then he just probably wants to win the game with this push. You know?
Yeah, and we don't see a follow-up
straight
command
up Hellion,
do we?
Nope, no command center here just yet. Petraeus is staying on a relatively low drone count, than what you would be used to seeing. I don't know if he got into the main and saw everything, but he feels like something is coming. And now the mutas will scout, and if they could get that combat shield, that would have been awesome, but not going to risk losing all of his mutas for it. Even a drone getting into the fray. It's like when you pop out of the egg and you just like the wrong mindset, but...
It's a warrior, but a heart, but unfortunately he was gifted with a weak body, and now he just doesn't get a chance. It's like Joan of Arc, but
I like that, yeah. There we go. Joan of Arc, I like it.
Oh, that's fantastic.
I can dig it, man. I can dig it. So Petraeus is going to have to deal with this. It's a 2-base, very strong push coming out of Ryung. These mutas are going to try to keep this push back for as long as possible, buying the time for that 1-1 as well as the bailing speed. But here's a Banshee's doing work at the third.
Yeah, poking down towards those queens. Shoot and Scoot picks one off.
Oh.
However, one of the Banshees traded out for it, and they cost gas, and queens don't cost gas.
Yeah. Creep spread is decent, but I mean, losing those queens is going to make it a little bit harder to spread the creep, especially with his Banshee killing off this creep tumors. And here comes Ryung. He's pushing with a huge force, but Petraeus has been preparing for this, and bailing speed is about to finish. Will he be able to hold? I think he can with the good bailing hits, but he's going to need to get them, and Ryung is good at splitting.
Here they come. Seeing those good splits coming out immediately, Ryung pulling back all the Marines, losing less than half the army, although a follow-up one when he pulled back in was maybe not the best. Widowmine splashing all over the Zerglings as well, and this push forward, yes! GG is called. It was just too much left after the Banes.
Too much, yeah.